Welcome to the Checkered Shorts Podcast, a podcast of three fraternity brothers reconnected by their love of IndyCar. Join us for GridRival IndyCar fantasy talk, predictions for upcoming races, and reactions to race day results and all things IndyCar. Let's go racing! Welcome back to our second episode of Checkered Shorts. Today we're going to hit on a bunch of things. You might call this our prediction episode. But first off, we want to hear from each individual person about what they're most looking forward to in the 2025 season. And we'll actually start with Pat, and then we'll circle around, and I'll finish it up.
Keith, thank you. Welcome back. Number 2 episode. Thanks for coming back. We need your support. Man, I know I've talked to you too about this. What I'm looking forward to the most is the new drivers on the new teams and the switches that have been made. There's a lot of it between Armstrong, Malukas, Siegel was on there last year. Those guys, VK, I mean, these dudes are on good teams now, and those top three, there's more drivers. Dinwiddie helped me out, but
I was going to say Rossi moving to ECR is huge as well.
Thanks.
Yeah,
like really tenured drivers, all on different teams, all on still good teams, and seeing what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about somebody like Lundgaard, who as much as I'm a Ray Hall fan, but like him moving from Ray Hall to McLaren, what's that going to do for that guy's career this year? And that's big.
And these guys all have to now. They have to produce. I tell Dinwiddie, I talk about it once a week. It seems, who's going to replace Scott Dixon, a Will Power? Who are these next guys? Not that they're ready to get replaced, but they're phasing out. Everybody can understand that in the next 2, 3, maybe 4 years. Like, who are the guys that are going to replace it? Pato is in that caliber, we think. Obviously, Pelot's in that caliber, we think. Who are the next 2, 3 dudes or gals that can fill those voids that are going to be championship contenders year after year with Joseph, Pelot? Pato's got to get there, right? He's still eking into that equation, but Lundgaard, Siegel still has a lot to produce. Lundgaard, VK, all those dudes. Rossi, can he do something at ECR? He's on a pretty damn good team with McLaren, and
it was solid.
Yeah, right.
Solid.
But somebody has to take that leap, and who's it going to be? That's what I'm really most excited about. Armstrong, still his third season, right?
Year one was kind of halftime.
Yeah. So his second full season. Let's see what he can do on a Chip Ganassi team again.
Yeah, I think George Jones sang it best when he said, "Who's going to fill their shoes?" And I think it's a pivotal time in racing, just like when he sang it was a pivotal time in country. It's who's going to carry this torch and who's going to take this sport to the next level, because that's really what IndyCar is hoping for, is to push over the top. And I think, if you don't mind, Brian, I'll go ahead and segue into what I was going to say, which was the move to Fox. Being a new fan, NBC was okay, tuning in and having to stream some Peacock, that was okay. But right away, you saw Fox investing in this product that they have, and more so than you ever saw through NBC. And, the buildup, the exposure at the Super Bowl, the individualized promotion, because I think one thing that we referred to in the first episode is you got to sell the drivers, because what IndyCar does best, what they do well is give you access to the talent that no other level of sports does. And, you got to put those people out front, and those guys got to carry the torch. You don't put a Joseph Newgarden on at halftime unless you think Joseph Newgarden is going to be one of those guys who's going to help carry the sport to the next level. So, I'm excited about this, what Fox is doing. And I'm hoping, just like me, there's going to be some people that say, "Oh, I've been missing out on something, and I want to get on board with this."
Yeah, and I think you hit on it there, Keith, that they're not just promoting the Indianapolis 500. In the past, that's the commercials you saw. Now you're seeing IndyCar, and knowing that this is a 17 race season versus just one day in May, and it's a big day in May, obviously, and it's something that if there are people out there who haven't been, I would definitely suggest you do that. One thing I'll say though is, and I was struck by this at Milwaukee, and I heard a lot of other people say it too, is how much merch you're seeing out there now, and how many people are wearing driver merch. That's something that over my 40 years of fandom, 40 some years, I won't say how many specifically, that I've seen a lot more of that lately than ever before, and there's it's something that NASCAR's had for a long time. Formula One definitely has it, and so now you're seeing that with IndyCar, and I think Fox is buying into that. Fox is buying in and saying, "Yeah, we're going to promote, and we're really going to ramp that up as we move forward." And so, that's exciting.
I think the promotion is also really, really smart, because you take these machines and you talk about that, right? The jet on the track, but what you do is you remove the helmet. And then all of a sudden you can start to get to know these people, because otherwise all you're seeing is this crazy machine putting out tons of horsepower, flying around corners and grabbing like you think physics would not allow. But what those promotions did was they removed the helmets. There was excitement in each one of those, and there was some comedy in it too. So you had a little sprinkle on that hyperbole with some funny segments. You look at these people's faces. And then, even some of the follow-up stuff that I see IndyCar doing right now on their socials is also more than what I saw in the past.
Yeah, no, it's literally the fastest racing on earth. I don't think everybody understands that. Everybody has a stigma about, F1's faster. F1 is not. IndyCar is the fastest racing on earth. Going 240 plus into turn one in IMS. No other car is going to do that without not hitting the wall. So no, Fox, to your point, Keith, it's killer. And all the podcasts I listen to with Connor and Hinch and Rossi and even Kevin Lee, like, they are saying Fox is blowing it out of the water. I think it was Hinch and Rossi. It's the same personnel doing the Super Bowl that are doing their promos.
Yeah, the A-team.
So
they only have one team.
Yeah, the A-team, right. So it's the same guys and gals that are producing this IndyCar stuff that, heck, we need more fans. And by golly, it sounds like we're going to get a few at least, just because of Fox. And everything's going to be televised, from qualifications and practices, on one of their, FS2, FS1.
Right. But
so
having every race now on national TV, on Big Fox.
Crazy.
And Keith, I know you're new to this, but Pat and I remember the days of having to go to the Speed Channel or Versus to watch IndyCar, right? Like, NBC was a step up, but Fox is going to take it even to the next level.
And it's cool because they're still keeping most of the same personnel as far as Hinch and Townsend. Lee Diffie's obviously staying with NBC, which I love Lee, but
Will Buxton's going to bring.
Will Buxton's going
to this. Like, he has a love of IndyCar, and I think you're gonna feel that. And and you got it on the radio side, and we've always talked about how really strong that IndyCar radio crew is. They're awesome. They're awesome with Mark Janes and Yeoman and Michael Young and everybody else, Query and everybody. So
I thought they had some great stories coming off the 2024 season as well, and they have done a good job thus far promoting those. The spots with Pato and talking about coming around the corner and being able to hear the sound of the crowd at IMS. I mean, I'm listening to that, whether you're a fan of Pato or not. It kind of gave you chills, because you shouldn't hear that. But it was just the perfect timing. We're less on the throttle or less noise, and just being able to hear that storm of people cheering as he made that pass, and then to have it pulled right out from underneath of you on the final lap creates some really, really the kind of drama that sells,
And they're hyping it up, in which they should, with that last lap of Pato making that pass right before or right after the start finish line. Right. I was there in turn 4, and I'm like, it was holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm down in turn 1, so
Oh my
I'm at
God.
the end of the front stretch. So I saw that Pato, and I thought, oh, it's over. Like he's
They're
got
hyped.
it.
Yeah.
And then Newgarden goes into 3. Nobody does that. Like
No.
nobody does that. Al Jr. and Emo tried that, and it didn't
Yep.
work out. It's crazy to see that happen. So
They're hyping it up for a good reason, and those are the 2 stars that probably need to be hyped up. So,
absolutely.
And
I think
it wasn't the only spot. 24 was a good season overall.
Oh, absolutely.
awesome.
A lot of drama, like even, Alex won the championship, but it wasn't a foregone conclusion. If
No,
Power
I
didn't
mean,
have a seatbelt
Power
and
had
didn't
a
have a
decent
spin,
shot
and
at it. Yeah.
like he was there. Like he had it, and there were a couple of guys, Hurta ended up really putting it together in the last few races to get himself up into second. I'm looking forward to a lot of the new pieces this year. Prema's coming on board. We know that they have great history in motorsports, and so what can they do? And you've got the guys, the Ganassis, the Penske's, the McLarens, the Andretti's that have been there for a long time. But where can Prema fall in this
Right.
in this status? The rookies. We've got you're talking about who's going to take over. You've got the Jacob Abels and the Louis Fosters that are coming in. Nolan Siegel, we can say that he's not a rookie, but like he didn't get a full season last year, so like there's a lot of new coming there. It's this is the first year the hybrid's going to be there from day one. Like how a guy's going to manage that, looking at it on the oval side. And I'm especially excited about what that looks like at Indy with the hybrid, because they didn't, and when I say Indy, I'm talking the 500, not the Grand Prix.
Right.
So there's a lot of new. They've added laps to several races this year. What is that going to do to strategy and just the overall experience and then obviously Fox and what Fox can bring from a broadcasting piece, the on track, but the other piece is the off track. Like you said, Keith, how are they going to connect us with the drivers? We know how important that is. And, I think about it as we love NFL, like NFL is the big sport in America. But a lot of times it's getting that helmet off of a player to get to know them. And so same thing with IndyCar, we've got to do that. And then Fox is really working on that. So yeah, I think there's a lot to look forward to this season.
Yeah, and just so you don't think we're glossing over anything, we understand that we're about to have a 3-week break from St. Pete to the next race. So we're holding on to some topics, keeping them in our back pocket for future episodes when it comes to rule changes and some of the team shuffling that's taken place. So we promised a prediction episode. So let's talk a little bit about the season. It's hard to not be a fan. So for me as a fan, I'm going down. I'm hoping that Pato can have the year that I think his talent should allow him to have. He appears to be a highly talented driver, shows restraint in the right time, some misfortune here and there, and then some youthful mistakes over the course of the last couple of years. But I'm hoping the time is right because, it's you want the guy that you're cheering for, that you're behind to finish well. So, I got some hope for him. In addition to some of the people I signed contracts with on my GridRival are just guys that just excite me by the way they drive. I love Ferrucci, and I feel like him having another year with the team there is only going to make him that much better. He's an aggressive racer. That's always exciting to watch, and you wonder if the changes in the laps is going to maybe give guys like that more of an opportunity. Maybe at the end of some of those races, people will be on an even playing field with fuel and tires. And then you got those guys that just are dogged and want to go after it. Connor Daly as well. Want to see him do well as an Indiana guy. And then to see him make all those passes, that is at Milwaukee, correct?
Yeah.
Is to see him and see him race so hard.
Got him a job.
Yeah. Essentially, racing for his life, kind of, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so to see people race like that, those people are exciting. And so I want to see that kind of exciting racing. And I hope that some of the changes make the end of races like we saw at the Indy 500 last year.
For sure. No, yeah. I think, it's a few guys for me to bounce off you a little bit, Keith, on who I think I think Scotty Mack has a really good chance. Award is he has to soon. He has to put himself in that caliber. I think Will still isn't out. Will Power still isn't out of it. Like, he's sneaky, man. He was there last year, and I mean,
he still got the fire.
Yeah.
In the double birds.
Right.
Yeah.
Dixon still, I think, can. I don't want to say he's lost a step, but I think he's lost a step. I think it's Newgarden. I think it's he's really good, man. Especially at the ovals, he can win. He could win all of them. And he might, you know what I mean? And he might win a road course race or two. I think after last year, the whole, quote unquote cheating scandal, whatever, at St. Pete, he's got a lot to prove. Like, I can do this without, whether he knew it or not. He's got a lot to prove, And obviously we all know he can. Like, racing's a lot of luck and a lot more talent sometimes, but that's, it's not who I'm picking on my grid rival for the first week, but it's hard to bet against him for the whole season.
Well,
but he's also hard. He's also hard to cheer for. For some reason, I see Joseph Newgarden, and
I don't think it's hard to figure out why.
And I see the Russian from Rocky IV.
I'm not picking him because I like him. Picking him because I would
have never dreamed that going third in the season predictions piece that I would be able to drop a name you two haven't yet. But neither one of you talked about Alex Palou and being the two-time defending champion and winning it 3 out of the last 4 years. It's hard to look past him.
I agree.
He's so stinking consistent. I think last year his worst finish was 7th in a race, and if he continues to do that again this year, that he's gonna win and walk away with it again. But I do think Scott McLaughlin's gonna really show up this year.
I'm ready for Scott.
I think he's gonna make a run at it. And then if from a season prediction standpoint, I think I'm gonna look at those two. I don't trust Colton yet. I don't trust Pato yet because I just don't. I think that they're too hard at just, they just want to go in and win too many races. And Palou's proven that you don't have to win them, just drive smooth. And then, unbelievably, he still ends up winning 4 times a year. And, I think those two, I don't think are in that discussion for me. I hope I get proven wrong because I do think highly of both.
They need to be. They need to start to be.
Yeah. Newgarden's tough. I think he's dedicated himself. He does all the things that he's supposed to do, getting ready for a season. I've heard Santino talk about how they have their sights set. I grew up a Foyt fan. I'm a big AJ Foyt fan, AJ Foyt Racing fan. I just don't think that they're there yet. And I think losing Mike Cannon in the offseason from the engineering standpoint really will hurt them when it comes down to it. So I don't think that Davey Malukas is ready to win a championship yet. I'm going to kind of stick with those two, Scotty Mack and Alex. So, what about the 500? I know it's not May, but that's always in the forefront of my mind. If you had to pick today, I have a feeling I know where Keith's going with this.
It would be a great story to see those two trying to run each other down again at the end. For IndyCar, I don't think a better thing could happen than the two of them to be running down the stretch with each other, and either Pato redemption or even Joseph pulling it off again. But both of those things would sell, and we get a lot of mileage out of them building up to the race and then from the race as well.
Yeah. It's the hardest race to predict, man. I watch a lot of other racing from NASCAR. You can probably pick a top 5 a lot of the times. In IndyCar, you probably could easy both time or in all the races as well. The 500, man, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
VK, I mean, my goodness, the dude knows how to get around the track. And
Goins had top high finishes there,
yes.
So it's the one place where he
can. I mean, by golly, they're not the best. They're not on the top tier teams, but you in that race, a lot of times you don't have to be, man.
Yeah.
I think Scotty Max is obviously after last year's pole. can do it. It's Pato's right there. Erickson can still do it. Erickson still knows how to scoot around that place.
I'm going to throw a name at you, though. Again.
Connor Daly.
No.
Oh, okay. Who you got?
Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson's coming back.
Best racer in the world, arguably. I mean,
I've always said that, like, Tony Stewart, and AJ Foyt are the three best true racers I've ever watched and or known about. I didn't get a chance to watch AJ in his prime, but sure. I'm not that old, Keith. But no, I'm gonna. If I had to bet right now, I'd put it on Larson because it's a one-track mind. When he's thinking IndyCar, that's all he's thinking about is that one race, and
right.
We know that he can wheel it. So
yep. No, I totally agree, and that's the fun part about that race is I truly think, yes, you got to have a ton of skill, but she picks the winner. You know what I mean?
Well, let's reel it back in because my old football coach always said the most important game is the next one. So looking down the road to the Indy 500 may not pay dividends. So
this is why he's the producer.
Let's focus on St. Pete. This Sunday we have our first opening race of the season, and street course. History of St. Pete. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rely on you guys for that, but I know there is some history there.
Oh, I mean, I believe Newgarden got his first ever victory there when he was part of. I can't remember if that was just Sarah's team, or if he was with Ed at that point too. But I think that was his maiden victory. It's been a place that Andretti has been strong, specifically Hondas. Hondas have always kind of had an advantage there. But I know Scotty Mack has jumped in there a few years ago and got a victory. Guys like Kirkwood and Herta obviously are going to be strong or have been strong there in the past. And I would expect them to be there again. Penske's are always, Penske's strong everywhere we go. One team that hasn't been super strong there, I don't believe is Chip Ganassi. So, they'll get their solid finishes, but I don't remember them just being super strong in that opening race of the season.
No, you're right. You're right. I think, obviously we know what happened with Newgarden and then Pato went in it last year, but I think Scotty Mack is going to stand on the podium first position after next week's race. He's just super cool and hard to root against and just kind of one of the guys. And two, he's pretty good race car driver.
And he's a dad now,
Right. That's right.
He's at a place in life where things kind of, look a little different, get a different perspective. And sometimes when, don't put that high amount of pressure on yourself, things happen. And so that could make a difference.
I'm excited. Chit and willpower too can just, who knows, man? That's what's super fun about it. That's why I can't wait. Alluding to or kind of going back to who knows what's going to happen this season. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
So watching from home, anything particular we need to pay attention to specific turns on the track, strategies that have worked in the past. This is not one of the races with the added laps, so it's going to look a lot like it has in the past.
No, it's a tight track, tight course. Yeah. You don't normally see people come from the back, so practice and qualifying are going to be very important in those qualifying groups to see, where's a red flag going to come out, those types of things. That has a tendency to cause issues here at St. Pete. But the walls are not very forgiving, as most street courses are, and it's not a fast-paced race, as it's very strategic. But getting in and out of pit road will be key. Getting out of there as quick as possible, and what those out laps can do, and tire strategy. We know that that was another. We talked about. We wouldn't talk a whole lot about rule changes, but they took one set of primary tires away and added a set of alternates this year. So guys are going to have those quicker green or red or yellow or whatever color we're calling them now tires to play with. So this will be their first time with that many sets of those tires. So we'll see how that plays into it.
It'll be exciting for sure.
All right. Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about it after we recorded the last episode that we didn't really talk about the title of this podcast in Checkered Shorts and the whole meaning of that. So
Great.
one thing I'm looking forward to this year is getting back to races with the two of you. And if you've been to the races and you've been to some races in the past, and you've seen a group of guys hanging around wearing some checkered shorts, probably standing in the top row of the stands, that's us.
It's the only place to go. Top, very top, very top.
And so we do tend to pull out our checkered shorts for race weekends, and but then as Keith and Pat mentioned last time, we wanted this podcast too to be a little different than other IndyCar podcasts, and so the idea of it being short in nature, in that 20-minute range is where we want to be. But hopefully you all will get out to a race or two this year. Look for us at our shorts, and please stop by and shake our hands and high fives, fist bumps, whatever it is, and we'll be glad to meet you. So
no, we'll be at a few of them. I'm sure we'll probably a lot of ovals and around the Midwest. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, you won't have to look for us. Generally, you can hear us coming.
Yeah, that's true.
You can hear Pat coming.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to be that guy.
All right. Thank you for once again joining us on Checkered Shorts, and we look forward to having more episodes in the future. Thank you.
Episode 2 in the books.